Righto, I'm going to show you another modification video today. This time it's going to be in the engine bay. I know you're probably thinking, how many more mods can this BT50 have? Well, here's a couple that I haven't done, and they're probably two of the most simple and effective engine mods that you can do to your own vehicle. So this is the kit, right? It's a Ryco kit. I'll pull the gear out and show you, but it is a catch can and fuel water separator kit. So there's two, and they all fit on one bracket, which is really good. And I reckon it's only going to take me about 2 hours to fit. So, all right, so I'll show you what's in the kit, and I'll pull it all out and just give you a bit of an explanation on what each part does. So in the kit, right, there's two filters are separate. So that's your fuel filter, that's your catch can. They come separately. In the kit, you get everything else. So there's a bracket in here. That's, it's only 3 mounting bolts, and it picks up on existing studs and nuts in the engine bay, and it fits kind of neat too. So, and that'll hold both the filters, super easy to fit. I'll show you that. That'll be the first part I put in. It also comes with a couple of pre-molded hoses. That's for your crankcase assembly for this one, and they'll just hook in, run around the back of your engine and stuff, and they'll sit in there really nice and neat. 2 fuel lines for the water pre-filter, and you get a couple of components for each, right? So there's your fuel filter one, and there's your crankcase one. Super neat packaging, and all your bits come in there, hey? All labelled, so you know which part goes where, and to help you out with that, full set of instructions. So super simple. Like it says here that you should probably get a qualified mechanic to do it if you're not too handy. I am a qualified mechanic, although I haven't done it for a while, and I'll be honest, I was never the best mechanic anyway, but I reckon I can handle that pretty easily. Hey? It's only a couple of hoses, a few bolts. I think I'll get away with it, no dramas. No, I will. Super easy. So there you go. What does it do? So the fuel pre-filter, it's a water separator. Inside you get a couple of bolts that mount it, and a couple of brass plugs to blank off one side of the head on the filter. And then at the bottom you got a glass bowl. So this is just an extra filter that goes before your standard vehicle filter, your fuel filter. And you see anything in here, water, dirt, yucky stuff, contaminants, that'll all get caught in this bowl before it gets into your standard filter. So it's just an extra line of defense if you pick up dirty fuel and stuff like that, because, well, I know modern engines, fine sort of tolerance injectors, and they're running high boost and they're sort of wringing the neck out of them. If you get dirty fuel, you can do a lot of damage. So pretty safe to chuck another one of those in, and you can pick up on any early bad fuel if you get it. Hey, while we're on fuel, I use a couple of things on the road that I reckon help me out. I always get fuel at high turnover servos, so never pull up at old mate down the corner shop that hasn't got anyone in the driveway and use his pumps. Go to the BP or the Caltex or whatever, the one with high turnover, because I just reckon even if there is any water or dirt in there, it'll be more mixed up and you'll get less of it at a high turnover servo. And also don't fill up first thing in the morning if you don't have to. We're good with that because we hardly ever get on the road by 10 o'clock or so. So we're good with that. But I just reckon, yeah, if you've seen water in diesel, overnight it all settles. The water's heavier, so all the water sits on the bottom. And I don't know, I reckon you've got more chance of picking up water early in the morning. That's just my opinion. It's worked for me. I've never had dirty fuel. So anyway, if I do, I've got an extra filter now. Anyway, the crankcase assembly. This one catches all the blow-by. So during the combustion process in your engine, you get like oily mist and vapor come up past the piston rings, and it goes into the top of your engine. Normally it just gets vented straight back into the intake for emission standards. They used to, if you used to see trucks and buses and that, they used to just be like a bit of hose like this hanging out the back, and it'll be pumping sort of steam or oily mist out. That's the blow-by. But now with emission standards and stuff, it needs to be used or caught. So this one, it's pretty much just like an inline filter as well. This will go in between your intake and your crankcase ventilation valve, and it'll just, inside is a paper element, and it catches everything in there, turns the oily mist into oil and back into normal air. The air goes into your intake, the oil comes out the bottom. You can either leave that done up, I think it's like 300, 400 mil sump or something in there, and you have to drain that every 40,000 Ks or something. I'll put the specs in here, it's in the instructions. Or there's like a little drain hose here. So you can run this on there with another valve, and then you can just reach under with a water bottle or oil can or something and drain it out whenever you do a engine oil change. I do mine every 7,500. I change my oil just because I'm doing a lot of 4BN and towing and stuff. But anyway, that's it. I think that's a fair rundown of what's in the kit. I'm lucky enough today, I'm in a mate's shed. So I've got a workshop to actually do it. I'm not out on the side of the road. But anyway, there'll be three sort of parts to the install. I'll fit the bracket, I'll show you that. Then I'll fit the fuel filter and I'll fit the crankcase filter assembly. So let's get into it, eh? Super easy. It only takes 3 bolts. So you got one there, another one down there that sits on the guard, and another one here. Now 2 of them already pick up on existing bolts. So in here, there's your TX valve for your aircon that goes through your firewall. You just put the one end of the bracket over that stud. Don't take that nut off. There's another nut to put on top of it. And then you undo this one here, down on your fuse box bracket. You undo that. It sits there. And then if you look down, can I see it? Down on down here on the guard, there's a hole that runs through, and the other hole of the bracket, this one, will line up with that. And then you just put the supplied bolt and lock nut through the guard to hold it in there. So I'll chuck that in now and show you what it looks like. I used to be a mechanic, right? Well, I suppose, I don't know. Are you ever not a mechanic once you've been one? I don't know. Well, I tell you, I'm glad I don't do it for a job anymore. Actually, I used to enjoy working on the bigger gear more. Like, I did most of my time on heavy road transport, and then I upskilled to a mobile plant mechanic and worked in the coal mines on a lot of cat gear, so I much preferred that than cars. Alright, that bracket's in. I just got to do the nuts up and do that bolt up through the guard, and we're away. If you read the instructions, I'm not usually real good at that, but I am doing it tonight. The next step is to get onto the fuel filter housing, bang a couple of plugs in and a couple of fittings. So I'll show you that. Now I reckon this is where a lot of DIYers would get or come unstuck, and they could damage this by doing it up too tight. So if you're super worried about it, get a torque wrench and a deep socket and put it on there. But if you've got a calibrated elbow from years of pulling spanners, just give it the old tweak, and then when you hear the old click in the elbow, there it is, click, click, she's good. Righto, got the other side on. The 2 brass blanking plugs. Ooh, nearly there. Click, click. Hey bud, what's going on? Nothing. This is Jack, everyone. Say good day, Jack.
Hi.
Jack's in his undies because he's going to bed. Right, I'll go and put Jack to bed. I'll come back and finish this. There you go. There you have it. First step done. Blanking plugs in one side, 2 quick connects on the other side, thread sealant tightened, ready to roll. So, alrighty, so the next step is to do the fuel hoses. So in this same parts list, you'll have 4 quick connectors like this, little elbows. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll have 4 hose clamps here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So with the 2 supplied fuel hoses, you remove the red cap, put this on first, then put the elbow in, and with a pair of pliers, slide these up to crimp on the barb there. So let's go and do those. All 4 of them. But once we've done the fuel hoses is to remove the factory one. So find this one here. That's the factory fuel supply line starting at the filter. So it's the bigger one, which is the one in under here. Now, I find it easy to use a scribe or a little small screwdriver or something to help you lift the sides of these clips up, because you just got to pop either side of them and then lift them up, and then they slide off. So we'll take that off, and then you've also got to trace it back down and pull it off the fuel tank line here, so it's the lower one as well, which I'm finding it hard to show you, but it's this one down here. We're going to take that hose off, and then we can fit this filter and run the new hose. There's the clip. Oh, there's one hose. There we go. There we go. Oh, there we go. It's easy to pull him out down from the bottom. And that's it. that one there.
Alrighty, so there is the fuel filter half mounted in there. I've got it on one bolt, and I'll swing him up and put this upside down. There we go. Start the second bolt, and away we go. I reckon we'll square him up on the bolt holes, nip him up, and then we'll move on. We've got to connect one of these hoses to this sucker, so there we go. Look how neat it looks, eh? Look at that. It's a good wasted space down in there. Not that there's any of that anywhere else in this engine bay, but I'll grab my scribe before I lose that. Yeah, that's got to sit in there nice, and then the other one we'll just tuck in here beside it. I like it.
Now that we've mounted that in there and tightened those two bolts up, it's as simple as fitting the new hoses. So it just says mount the first supplied fuel hose by pushing the elbow connector onto the fuel pipe, which was the one we took off down here on the chassis. And then just route that around and clip it on to this fitting here in brown, which is the front one on the new filter housing. And then grab the other hose, clip it onto the back one, route it down and around up under here where we pulled it off, and clip it back onto the factory fuel fitting on the original filter. So done. How easy is that? And that's the fuel filter done, mate. We'll just have to bleed it up again later. That's it. Hey, that's the fuel filter done. So easy. So before you hook up the second fuel line, this one here, back to your standard filter, you've got to bleed it. So bleed all the air out of this one first. This one should be okay. We'll be all right, I reckon. But get a little container or something to catch the fuel, and then get someone to help you. My missus is going to help me in there, aren't you, Becky Boo?
Yes, don't
Righto.
pajamas.
All right, I just want you to, when I turn the ignition on, just turn it on, yeah? Righto. No, not start, just turn the key on to ignition. Righto, go. There we go, that's the one. So you'll hear the fuel pump working and everything else going. You might have to do it a few times, like you might have to turn it on and off a few times, but I can hear it coming there. There we go. Righto, turn it off. Beauty. Turn it on again. Turn it off. Done. Righto. So that's bled, and we'll clip him back onto the main filter now. We're good to go. Thanks, dear. All right, so I've hooked this fuel hose back up. Before I get the lovely wife to go back to bed, can you just start the car, mate? I'll just check it over for leaks and stuff, so make sure it's not... start her up. Away we go. Have a quick look, make sure there's no leaks and all the fittings and that look good. Looks pretty good to me. I like it. Shut it down, dear. All right, so I'm going to show you one thing before I put it in, because I'm going to run the drain hose on this, because I think it'll be a lot easier just to get under and use this little quick connect here to drain the oil out into a bottle or something. And it's pretty handy, eh? I like that. Anyway, so I put that on that end with a clamp, and the clamp on the other end of the hose here. So what you got to do with your filter housing butt is screw out this drain bung here, and on the inside you'll see there's a rubber seal on the end of it. So take that off. There you go. You don't need him anymore. And then screw that back in, and then slip him on. Put that in there. Twist him around. Oh, you know what? Bit of lube never hurt. There we go. Turn that on, and then with your trusty old pliers, slide your hose clamp down over the barb. Muck around a bit to get him on there. There we go. Happy days. Now I can slide that down. Try and feed it down beside the chassis rail. And you'll just slide him down, and then you can use a couple of zip ties later. Tie it up under there where it's easy to access later on. Let's get him in. Done. Ew. Righto, come and I'll show you what it looks like. So here we go. That's it, all mounted up, nice and neat. Slots in on that side of the bracket. Nice and tidy beside the fuel filter. Now we've just got to run those pre-made hoses from here, around the back of the engine, over to the crankcase. So I'll show you where it joins up. you'll see this one here. This is the standard one, right? So when I told you at the start, it just pumps the oily mist straight out of your engine, straight back in. Follow it, follow it. Here we go. Bang, straight into your intake. Not into your filter or anything. It just goes straight back in to there. So all you're getting is just oily mist and stuff all through your intake pipes and intercooler. Not good for anything. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this one off up here, spin that 90 around. One of the pipes will join from there and go over to there. The other one will come round and there'll be a joiner where we just join this one back up. So, piece of cake, mate. Look at that. I'll show you what you mean. See that? See all that oily mist? That's coming straight out of the engine, straight back into your intake, eh? We don't need that crap. And then it just goes all hard and clogs everything up and it's no good for nothing. Anyway, this elbow down here is literally on a swivel. You can just pivot it around to face the other way. But what we're gonna do is run one of these. Now all these will tuck down nicely. Look at this. Just behind the engine there. So the first one will join onto the PCV valve. And then the second one will run over the top of it to this fella here and just join up. Such a neat little system, eh? So I've managed to get the first hose on the PCV, and that means if you read the instructions, follow it around, it goes to the bottom fitting on your crankcase ventilation filter. So they're big ends on this end, so they run some big hose clamps. Put one of those on and then slide him on to the bottom fitting on your crankcase here. Do the clamp up and then we'll chuck this one here back on top, eh? We're just about done. Yes. Did I tell you how much I enjoy not being a mechanic anymore? I'll tell you, get off here. It's definitely not like riding a bike because you do forget it, honestly. You forget how to bloody hold it. A pair of vice grips. Get up here. You forget what, you know what you forget most? Is like the sizes of spanners and stuff. You used to be able to just like pick bolt heads and nuts and be like, yeah, 5/8, 3/4, 10 mil, whatever. Now I pick up 3 or 4 different friggin' spanners or sockets before I get the right one. It's pretty frustrating, eh? Feed him on the top. Yes. Get close, I'll leave it loose for now. We'll go and move it over the other side. Need to hurry up, I'm on a promise. I don't want to miss out. 10 o'clock's me cut off. And we're done. How easy was that? Phew. So there you go. Like in, I don't know, 2 hours I've smashed that out. And come and check it out, the final product. Look at this. Look how neat it is, hey? You would think it's a bloody standard fitting. They tuck away over there, nicely behind the engine. I'll take you over there in a second. The fuel filter's in there. New lines run down along the chassis. New one comes up here. The other one clips onto the fuel pipe that goes down your tank. And it all sits in there nice and neat. Honestly, it's been such a quick and easy fitting. Come over this side, you wouldn't know what I've done here either. It just all looks factory. So new hose connected onto that elbow, then a joiner goes into this one. This is the original pipe that runs through here, but now, instead of getting all the oily air straight out of here, it's going to get the fresh stuff out of the filter over there. So, there you go. Here's what's left on the ground. A couple of empty boxes, and yeah, me tool roll. So, bloody easy to do, eh? I'm just going to wind this light down because that is bright. There we go, I can't see. So easy to do for anyone who's sort of a half DIYer or a mechanic. Have a crack at it, mate. 2 good mods, fuel water separator and a crankcase ventilation filter. There you go, have a think about that. Too easy. If you need any more info, check out, I'll put some details here from Ryco for their website and that sort of stuff. You can check that out. But otherwise, hit me up for some questions if you've got any. I know they do lots of other different cars, but this kit here will fit the Ranger and the BT50 from like 2011 till 2018, something like that. So it's a good thing, nice and easy, 2 good mods. Hope you enjoyed that, eh? See ya.